Atma, this conscious being, the soul, the true essence, his nature is, he is a akarta, abhokta. A akarta, abhokta means is not a doer, not an enjoyer. Consciousness is not a doer, not an enjoyer. And therefore, all that, if there is somebody who kills, if you think you will be killed, you don't know what you're talking about. If you think you are an object of killing or you are the killer, you as an essential being cannot kill, nor can you be killed. You're not a doer of an action, nor are you a enjoyer of somebody else's action. Atma is pure consciousness, pure conscious being which is free from any doership and enjoyership. And those verses are verses 19 and 21. Ya enam veti hantaram yaschainam manyate hatam ubhau tau na vijanitaha nayam hanti na hanyate veda vinashinam nityam ya enam ajam avyayam katham sapurshah partha kam ghatayati hantikam. If you know Sanskritam, it's so clear, so clear. As you read, you can appreciate the truth. He says Atma is neither the doer nor enjoyer. All right, but what is in your experience? Experience, understand, I'm talking about this experience. What is in your experience is experience of the physical you, not the non-physical you, not the essential you. And therefore the essential you is called Atma, the consciousness. The non-essential you, who experiences the physicality, who has come into the physicality, is the doer and enjoyer. The doer and enjoyer is that you, the non-physical being who sits in the physicality. Understand? Are you a physical being or a non-physical being? If you think you are the body, then okay, you are a physical being. But if you recognize that I am a non-physical being who has descended into the physicality, then the experiences is always connected to the physical. The doership and enjoyership is with reference to the 5 elements. Experiencing, the experiencer and the experienced are both in the realm of the 5 elemental model of the universe. Atma is a non-doer, a non-enjoyer. The experiences in doership, enjoyership, Atma is all pervasive, infinite consciousness. The experience is in conditionality, spatial conditionality. The Atma is free from time and space, nityaha. The experience is in birth and death, conditionality. You understand? The experience is opposite of what is. Atma is satyaha, is that which can never be wiped out by time and space. And what do you experience? Wiping out of time and space. What I mean is, that in time and space, the changes keep taking place is your experience. It is like experiencing the sunrise when the sun has not risen, experiencing the blue skies when the sky is not blue, experiencing the horizon when there is none. This whole world is a world of experience. We call these experiences as mithya or apparent. Life of experiences is a life of living in the apparent world. And who brings truth into this world? What is that which brings stability or groundedness or freedom or fullness? Is nothing out there. It is here. You are that Sat. You are that eternal being who's experiencing this magic, who's experiencing the illusions. In fact, as somebody beautifully said, we are living in a world of illusions. We are experiencing illusions. And who we are the truth behind all illusions. And this is not an ordinary paradigm shift here. This is not going to be something you can just hear and walk away from. If this is really, really true, what the Lord is saying, then there is something for me to really ground myself and just explore, just jump into it and see what more is coming for me. Because in this declaration of Lord Krishna, there is no death. Because there was no birth. I ever was, I ever am, I ever will be. And dying is something I do for myself. Nobody does it to me. I do for myself, and therefore there is no reason to fear. I am the cause of my own death, as I was the cause of my own birth. Being the cause of my own birth, I am the cause of my own death, and therefore you can never die against your will. Hence, there is no victim, there is no perpetrator. In the final law of the universe, there are no victims and no perpetrators. In the law of the universe, there is no path home which is better than another path. No, we are all on our journey. A journey that began until we wake up to our truths. And therefore, death is not a tragedy. The conclusion here for Arjuna, where Arjuna is to carry his mind into, is, therefore there is no reason to be distressed. Death is not a tragedy, it is a gift. It is a gift. It is a gift that will help me transit. It's not a disaster. It's not the end of everything. It will help me transit. It's a relief. It's a relief. It is a release from the bondage of the physicality. The Atma is as if bound, constricted in this body. When the body drops, you are free to fly away. You're free to move on, literally. You're free from all the aches and pains of the body, because no more the soul reflects in this body, no more is the soul tied into the body. And therefore, it is a time for celebration. That's why in our culture, when a monk passes on, we don't say he died. We say he attained samadhi, or he consciously released himself from his body. He released himself from this body. There is no reason to cry, there is something to celebrate, because he has now transited on. And therefore, life after life is about crossing, transitioning. I read somewhere some time back where somebody said, death is like a revolving door. When you go to these malls, these big malls, Macy's and whatnot, and you enter on a summer day, you're on the street, and then from the street you enter, right? And you've been hustling and taken the train and jumped into the bus and finally reach. And then when you push this door, and it just one round, what happens? Wow. Wow. The air condition is there and people are having ice cream and they're just gliding on different shops and enjoying, and it's just so wonderful. You can spend a long time in the mall, right? What has happened? All happened was you moved through a revolving door. Death is a revolving door. From the street into the mall, okay? Not from mall into the street. That's a little challenging. But from street into the mall is a release from the body to being free from the body. And you find, really speaking, I have seen in my life, when we work, when we talk to people who are in the last stages of life, like maybe a hospice or something like that. I've done a lot of work in the hospice with patients, dying patients. I find them to be the best students of Bhagavad Gita. Do you know? They are the best because they want to quit gracefully. They don't, if you have lived gracefully, you want to go gracefully. And you want to understand. And when you talk to some of them, it's amazing. They're just waiting to hear these pearls of wisdom, because that's exactly, they are at that brink, where the revolving door will open up any second. And therefore they are ready, they are prepared. They prepare themselves. And when you observe some of these people who have lived well, gracefully they've lived, they are so graceful when they go. There are so many messages they give you when they go. I have been a recipient of such messages also. To conclude this session, my own mother, I will share with you a personal episode where my own mother was in her deathbed. And she was, of course, my whole family was connected to my Guru, Pujya Swami Dayananda from childhood, from the 50s, and from, it's a long decades of relationship. And she was, in her last days, I spent that time with her. I was already a monk by then. The last 1 month of her life, I was with her, and I would ask her, are you afraid of death? She knew she was going. She did some amazing things where she would make me make phone calls to people. When she was in her working years, she was a social worker, okay? A big social worker for the railways of India, and she had best employee award and whatnot. And interesting, her thinking was, she would call people who were fighting with each other in the family, the relatives. And each side she would call India, she would call here, there, and tell them, I'm calling, oh, you're calling us, how are you, and all. And she will say, I'm calling from my deathbed. I have a wish, a dying wish. Will you fulfill for me? Oh, of course. They would start crying and they would say, yes, of course. And she would say, stop fighting with the other one. Learn to forgive. Learn to live in peace. She did this those last few months of her life, making peace between people, teaching them to forgive, to let go, live out of love. And I remember asking her, are you afraid of death? And she said, who is dying? Where can I go? I am Ishvara, I am Sarvavyapi, I'll be here. Where will I go? Do I go anywhere? I will be here. I have no reason to go. The most powerful, the most graceful, the most wise, mature, sitting on that deathbed were her responses. These are memories which really you hold dear, because you find people who have lived gracefully know how to go gracefully, because they have understood something very deep about life and living through such powerful teachings of the Bhagavad Gita, right? So with this, Lord Krishna teaches this to Arjuna, and therefore he has every right to say, and therefore Arjuna, therefore, do your duty, do what is to be done. You have to be in your royal script. You are the upholder of Dharma. Do your Dharma, do your duty. That is what is good for society. Establish Dharma. That is what is called of you.